Hi, good morning. So today we get to learn about another math tool that we use in kindergarten. Today we're learning about something called tangrams. So in kindergarten, when you're in class, you'll get to use, yours are going to look more like this, like they're plastic and hard. I didn't have enough of these to send home with you, but you have a bag of some foam shapes that you're going to be using. But first, we're going to read a really fun story. It is called Grandfather Tang's Story, a tale told with tangrams. And in this story, he's going to use our math tool, tangrams, like we do in the classroom, and he's going to make some shapes out of it. So I'm going to turn the camera around and I'll read the book to you, okay? All right, it's called Grandfather Tang's Story. Grandfather Tang and little Sue were sitting under a peach tree in their backyard. They were amusing each other by making different shapes with their tangram puzzles. Let's do a story about the fox fairies, said little Sue. So Grandfather Tang arranged his 7 pieces into a shape of a fox. So here we have shapes of a fox. Then Grandfather Tang made another fox with little Sue's 7 tangram pieces. Little Sue clapped her hands as her grandfather began. Although Chu and Wu Ling were best friends, they were always trying to outdo each other. One day, this rivalry almost brought their friendship to a tragic end. They were sitting under their favorite willow tree beside a river, talking about their magic powers. "I can change myself into a rabbit as quick as a wink," boasted Wu Ling. "I'll bet you can't do that." "I can too," says Chu. "Cannot," said Wu Ling. Anyway, actions speak louder than words, and he changed himself into a rabbit. And there he made a rabbit with his tangrams. "Not bad," said Chu, smoothing his whiskers, "but watch me do better than that." And before Wu Ling could blink, Chu changed from a fox into a dog. Now when Chu changed himself into a dog, he not only looked like a dog, but he felt like a dog and acted like a dog. He bared his teeth and lashed his tail. Wu Ling shivered and twitched his nose. "I love rabbits," Chu growled, "and I'm going to get you and gobble you up." The dog edged closer and closer. Wu Ling's eyes grew bigger and bigger. He was too frightened to move at first, but then he thought, "I'll be safe if I can climb up the willow tree." His little puff of a tail grew long and bushy, and his tall ears shrunk as Wu Ling transformed himself into a squirrel. Wu Ling sprang into the willow tree and scrambled to the top. "Chu will probably turn himself into a cat so he can climb up the tree after me," Wu Ling said to himself. "But he'll never catch me. I'll jump from tree to tree, and he won't be able to follow me." Of course, Chu thought about changing himself into a cat, but that's just what Wu Ling expects me to do, he said to himself. What can I do to surprise him? He thought and thought. I know, I'll swoop down upon him from above. And he turned himself into, what do you think it is? He said he swooped down from above. See if you can guess. A hawk! So there's the hawk. Chu circled round and round in the sky above the willow tree, searching for Wu Ling. Wu Ling peered through the leaves of the tree, looking for Chu on the ground. Round and round Chu circled the willow tree until he spied Wu Ling. "Kick, kick, kick!" he shrieked as he zoomed down upon the squirrel. Wu Ling trembled. Chu's beak looked sharp enough to pierce right through him. If only I lived in a shell house, he thought. Then Chu couldn't hurt me. Chu stuck out his fierce claws to seize Wu Ling, but Wu Ling dove toward the river below the willow tree. And as soon as he tucked in his head and tail and legs, he turned green and changed into a... So he's green and has a shell. See if you can guess. A turtle! Wu Ling climbed up on a mossy rock in the middle of the river. There he is. He thought he was safe because he looked as if he were part of a rock. Chu circled round and round, searching and searching until his sharp eye spotted the turtle. Then he swooped down, down, down toward him. But as Chu reached him, Wu Ling plunged into the water. "Follow me and you'll drown," he cried. Don't worry, cried Chu, plunging right behind Wu Ling. His body grew longer, covered with scales. He whipped the water with his long, wicked tail, and he snapped his spike-toothed jaws as he turned into a crocodile. Wu Ling circled and round and round as he plunged down to the bottom of the river. Chu lashed his wicked tail as he plunged after Wu Ling. Just as they reached the bottom, Chu clamped Wu Ling in his spike-toothed mouth. Now I've got you, he bellowed through his clenched teeth. Oh, no, you haven't, cried Wu Ling, who grew smaller and smaller and changed himself from green to gold as he transformed into a goldfish. So there he is. He's a goldfish. And he swam out of Chu's mouth between his spiked teeth. Then he hid in a patch of cattails. Chu churned the water with his lashing tail as he charged into the patch after Wu Ling. With his head swinging back and forth and his eyes darting here and there, he searched for Wu Ling. Wu Ling knew that Chow would not give up until he found him. I must fly from here, he thought, and he started to honk as he transformed himself into a... Says he has a honk. I wonder what animal flies and makes a honk. Goose! See the goose? Chu charged after him, but Wing spread his wings and took to the air. Chu watched him fly to a small island where a flock of geese were feeding. By now, he was not only very angry, he was also very hungry. He decided that if he could not catch Wu Ling, any goose would make him a good dinner. He splashed through the water toward the island until he reached it. Honk, 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 called Wu Ling, and he took to the air. A chorus of honks swelled through the air as the flock of geese spread their wings to follow him. While Chu watched the honking grew fainter, the flock grew smaller, and he felt his anger slowly drain away. Why, oh why, did we play this silly game, he moaned. I'll never see Wu Ling again. He closed his eyes and sank toward the river's bottom. Just as he touched it, however, he had an idea, and up he popped again, a goose himself. Moments later, Chu was flying after Wu Ling and the other geese. He could hardly see or hear them at first, but he did not let this discourage him. Calling upon every last bit of strength, he forged ahead. So he decided, why are we fighting and arguing? And he just wants his friend back. So here he is. He turned into a goose, and now he's trying to chase after his friend. Each flap of his wings brought him closer. The wedge of geese slowly grew bigger. The honking grew louder. At last, Chu found himself flying beside Wu Ling. I'm tired of our silly game, he cried. Come back with me to our willow tree. Before Wu Ling could answer, something strung Chu's right wing. He sank toward the ground. A hunter had shot him. Wu Ling flew down beside Chu, placed his left wing under Chu's smashed right wing, and together they fluttered down to the edge of the forest. The hunter ran toward them. Fly away, Chu urged Wu Ling. Save yourself. Fly, fly. I won't desert you, cried Wu Ling, and with a mighty roar, he changed into a lion. Look, he's going to save his friend. And there he made a lion with his tangrams. The hunter raised his bow. Wu Ling sprang toward him and knocked the bow from his hand. The hunter fled, leaving his bow behind. Wu Ling and Chu returned to their fox shapes, and Wu Ling helped Chu to his den, where he took care of him until he was mended. Did they ever play that game again? Asked little Sue. Many times, said her grandfather, but they were very, very careful. That was a good story, said little Sue. Let's do another. Grandfather arranged his 7 tangram pieces. Is this story going to be about a man? Asked little Sue. Yes, said her grandfather. He's old and he's tired. He wants to sit under a tree and rest a while. You see, there's the grandpa and his daughter, and they're sitting under the tree resting. Is he a grandfather like you? Asked little Sue. Yes, said her grandfather, just like me. Little Sue arranged the 7 pieces of her tangram beside her grandfather's. Is that a little girl? He asked. Yes, said little Sue, just like me. She'll sit and rest beside the man. That will make him very happy, said Grandfather Tang. And now, little Sue, what will we do? We'll sit and rest together until Mother calls us for supper, said little Sue. That will make me very happy, said her grandfather. The end. All right, boys and girls. So today you have several of these little puzzles. Now, I just realized, and sometimes we have to improvise, but I just realized that your pieces don't all fit in here. So your challenge today is to look at the picture and then try to build your own off to the side, okay? So like if I were looking at this picture, I see that's kind of a square shape, so that's the head. Or I'll just put mine in here so you can see, but you could build off to the side. See how the pieces don't quite fit? And yours might not quite fit or be the same shapes either, but you can try to build your own cat or whatever shape you would like. So this is tail. And again, you might have to do yours off to the side and kind of make it yourself and create your own shapes. And there's several different puzzles in there. So you can make whatever shapes you want. Maybe you could tell a story like Grandfather Tang while you do it. I hope you enjoy exploring with your tangrams today, and I will see you next time.